Off isn't just for the kids, it's also for the water. The entire city is facing a boil water notice, again.
We're told, don't wash your hair with the water, don't brush your teeth with the water.
Lakeisha Galilan worries about her 8-year-old.
Is she going to walk over to a water fountain and drink from that water fountain?
To be safe, signs are up at the middle school. They've been there a long time.
You can't remember a time when the kids could use the water fountains in the school?
I can't remember. I honestly can't remember.
George Stewart has taught here for 6 years, a predominantly black, low-income school. On top of all the other challenges, water quality and water pressure are a constant battle.
At one point, we had to shut down for about 2 weeks.
When?
This was maybe a year or two ago.
In the middle of the pandemic?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Class went virtual. Kids fell further behind.
We have many students who consider some of our most vulnerable students who virtual learning does not help them at all.
The problem here, like so many other places, is failing infrastructure.
This is one of 2 water treatment facilities in Jackson, and the one largely to blame for the most recent citywide boil water notice. And officials still can't tell people when the water will be safe to drink again.
In 2020, an EPA report cited a long list of problems with the water system, including failure to replace lead pipes, faulty monitoring equipment, inadequate staffing.
There's been a failure to recognize this as a unified problem, as a problem both on the state and even at times the federal level, understanding that we lived in aging America.
Chokwe Antar Lumumba is Jackson's mayor.
If I could write you a check right now to fix the problem, how big would that check have to be?
For the water system alone, it would have to be in excess of more than $200 million.
Pastor C.J. Rhodes, father of twins, has watched many in Jackson lose faith in their leaders.
I don't think our congregation is the only one that feels that way. You talk to people all across the city. Many are livid. Many want to vote people out.
Not far from the surface, concerns that racial inequities could be to blame.
I am concerned about my city, filled with residents that look like me. I think this is an opportunity to change the narrative of what Mississippi is known for.
And that can start, he says, by providing the most basic of needs, water. Stephanie Gosk, NBC News, Jackson, Mississippi.
If black kids are angry, it's because we poison their brains. Literally. Oh, you think black people are more violent? So weird how that happened right after we poisoned all their neighborhoods with lead. Fucking crazy. Oh, and this is not any conspiracy theory or anything like that. This is well-documented U.S. history. And if nobody taught you this, it's probably because they didn't want you to know. So yeah, welcome to my latest rabbit hole. So let's start off with the science behind lead. Lead exposure is like one of the worst things that you can do to a developing child's brain. It causes permanent damage to the part of the brain that deals with judgment and impulse control. It reduces IQ, and it increases aggression and risk-taking. This is proven. It causes learning disabilities, attention issues, and behavioral disorders. And it raises the chance of arrest, school expulsion, and unemployment later in life. And for most of the 20th century, poor black communities were deliberately soaked with this shit. Their homes, their pipes, their air, their soil, you name it, fucking lead. So wait a minute, if lead was so dangerous, why are we using it? And you guessed it, money. Tales all the time, baby. Lead in the paint made it dry faster, it stuck better to surfaces, it resisted moisture and peeling, and it just looked like shinier and more vibrant, And this was great for landlords and government-assisted housing, the places that are trying to cut costs and shit. Perfect for them. Oh, but we also put it in gasoline too, but we made a new name for it though, so it sounds a little bit better. They called it tetraethyl lead, which this ended up making cars run better. You didn't have the knocking from engines, and it allowed manufacturers like GM to make their high-performance cars. So win-win, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, even though all the factory workers in the GM plants and the DuPont plants and stuff like that started hallucinating and seeing bugs, like they literally called it the house of butterflies because people were seeing bugs and swatting up. But yeah, even though all of this shit was actively happening, they were like, I think we're safe. Honestly, I think we're good. But they also put lead in all the pipes and stuff. So all your water coming to your house, whatever, it's going through lead because lead was cheaper. It was easier to bend, it's better, But like, here's the thing. If we knew lead was bad, like we wouldn't have known this and still pushed it, right? Try again. Ready for this little timeline? In 1904, Australian doctors warned that lead paint killed children. France and Australia said, oh God, terrifying, ban it. The US said, it'll be all right. In 1992, the League of Nations recommended a global ban on lead paint. They said, this is bad. Nobody should be using this. And the US said, I'd rather not. Oh, and you can thank Sherwin-Williams for that and the Lead Industries Association, which was lobbying Congress. So round of applause, Sherwin-Williams, thank you so much. Oh, but then we got in 1924 when the workers at Standard Oil's New Jersey refinery died in mass. But they were hysterical. That was workers' hysteria. That was not lead, baby. So we're fine. Oh, and then in 1943, they had US studies that showed low-level exposure lowered your IQ. But still we were like, let's just bury those. Nobody needs to see those, okay? And then in 1971, the CDC created a safe threshold, but they put it really fucking high. They're like, this is safe, I guess we'll be fine. Stop complaining. You have your freedom. Shut up, Oh, but of course, with this law, there was no enforcement in black communities because why would we do that? What? And then in 1978, the U.S. finally banned residential paint. But that was only for new construction. And there was no requirement of cleaning up the old lead paint. So, the projects, the government housing, all those places where you pushed all those poor people into. Yeah, we're not going back there. But the new homes, the rich people, we good. We Gucci, baby. And here's where it gets really fucking crazy because it had me thinking, how many major cities were affected by this? Let's go through the list. We have Baltimore, Maryland. By the 1990s, 94% of poisoned children were, you guessed it, black. Ooh, yep. Peeling paint and aging row homes, water pipes, industrial waste sites saturated entire neighborhoods. Freddie Gray, yep, that one, the one that killed by the police in 2015. Yep, he was one of the poison guys. When they did the autopsy, they showed cognitive damage, ADHD, and lead-related developmental delays. Crazy. Go figure, right? Baltimore's murder rate peaked at 353 in 1993, one of the highest in U.S. history. And today, estimated 75,000 to 100,000 people are still affected. St. Louis, Missouri. Over 80% of black children tested in the 1990s had elevated blood lead levels. Public housing in North St. Louis was never remediated, like ever. Oh, and as recently as 2016, 2016, the city testing still found unsafe levels in kids' blood. So yeah, they estimate around 65,000 to 85,000 people are still being affected today in 2025. And most of these people live in neighborhoods with zero accountability. They're like, whatever, you got this, you're fine. And then we got Cleveland, Ohio. In 2004, more than 85% of homes still had lead paint. In fucking 2004, the city didn't enforce lead safety laws until 2019. Are you fucking kidding me? In 2018, Cleveland had the highest rate of lead exposure in Ohio, in the entire fucking state. Oh, and today, they're estimating around 70,000, 90,000 people are still affected, especially in East Cleveland and Glenville. God, this is fucking wild. Then we got Chicago. Chicago had the most lead service lines in the country, over 400,000. In the 1980s and 2000s, public housing projects like Cabrini Green were full of peeling lead paint and lead-tainted soil. Oh, and even now, South and West Side schools still show lower testing scores and higher suspension rates that correlate with historic lead maps. Like, the math is mathing. Just throw the fucking equation. And they estimate that today, around 200,000 to 250,000 people are still affected. Then we got Philadelphia. In 2000, 40% of children in some zip codes still tested positive for lead. Oh, but the enforcement laws exist there. They're just, not funded or followed or anything like that. Red tape, whatever. And in 2020, so 5 years ago, over 80% of rental units are still fucking failing the lead safety checks. And of course, they're in low-income neighborhoods. Go figure. So they estimate that around 90,000 to 120,000 people in the Philadelphia area are still being affected today. Then we got New York City. New York City banned lead paint in 1960, but the Housing Authority lied about the cleanup. In 2018, a federal investigation revealed that 19,000 children still living in the units that tested positive for lead. 19,000. The Bronx in particular shows the highest overlap between historical lead exposure and modern day crime, incarceration, and underfunded schools. Still affected today, they're estimating around 250,000 to 300,000 people. So you want the total number of all these cities combined together? Yeah, they're estimating between 750,000 people and 945,000 people right now in 2025. But here's the most fucked up part about all of this. Let's say somebody escapes. You're 7 years old, you run away, you go live in Beverly Hills, I don't know, whatever the fuck. It doesn't leave you. You can literally pass lead poisoning onto your children through epigenetics. Lead does not mutate your DNA, but it changes how your genes express themselves. This ends up changing, I don't know, stress response, brain development, immune systems. So that means if someone was poisoned as a kid, they could still pass this shit down to their kid. Their kid could end up with lead in their bones. It could, during pregnancy, the lead is released back into the bloodstream and passed directly to the fetus. Your child can be born with higher risks of anxiety, attention problems, learning disabilities, executive dysfunction. So even if you're in a nice neighborhood and you were lead poisoned as a kid, you're still fucked. So what happens when you poison millions of children and just send them off into the world and criminalize their behavior afterwards? You get over-policed communities, mass incarceration, general poverty, schools that fail, and entire families marked as failure before they even had a fucking chance. This is not culture or bad parenting. This is not a moral failing. This is fucking chemical warfare. And this shit has been hidden in plain sight, engineered by corporations, approved by the government, and then buried under the headlines like black on black crime. So next time somebody says, well, black communities are just more violent, show them the fucking paint chips. Because I'll tell you right now, the studies showed that effects come about 20 years after the lead poisoning, which means the last people that have been poisoned, well, there's still shit going on right now, but we're still dealing with these effects. This shit's not gonna go away until we fix the root cause. So next time somebody says, systemic racism isn't real, I don't even know what that means, show them this fucking video. Because this shit, like I said, is fucking chemical warfare and absolutely unacceptable. And what you're looking at isn't a crime, baby. It's a fucking crime scene. And the criminals, still rich, still free, still in office. We need to fix that.
Shalom, Shalom Israel. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto YAHAWAH, Ba'ashem, YAHAWASHI, Ba'ashem, Rakwakwadosh. Double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone. Shalom to my Akim, Wa'akwafim, who are diligently waiting to be delivered from this final captivity. This brother Kawakab coming at you with no lesson. Shalom to the speckled bear, the man who the other nations, but actually Yasharallah. In today's lesson, I want to talk about this whole, I was about to say it's systemic. Yes, technically systemic, but at the same time, chemical warfare slash I don't know what I'm blanking on the term. I know what the term is, but I just can't say it. Anyway, the thing is that they are literally sabotaging us and making things so that we are literally doing or Slakia put in a terrible situation so that they can point the finger at us for things. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, this was probably one of the better videos or the best videos that I've seen in regards to this, because I genuinely did not know. And as a matter of fact, let me just take a quick look. Can lead lead to violence. Normally you would have this stuff. Childhood lead exposure increases the likelihood of behavioral and cognitive traits such as impulsiveness, aggressiveness. So yes, that is the thing. Oh, and low IQ that are strongly associated with criminal behavior. So yes, basically that is the thing. And everything that she was just saying, which I cannot believe. Like sometimes it's just so baffling to me, these revelations and stuff like that, where this stuff was happening, and now that you have these people that are being revealed. And if she is that even, I'm over here trying to think, like, is that her actual house? Because that's kind of crazy. Anyway, the main point is you have this revelation of how they literally set this stuff up, and very clearly they knew that was going to be the case. So then now they're saying this stuff, letting these lies of, oh, black people are so violent, black people are so this, black people are so that, and we are the ones that are primarily the victims of all that stuff happening. All right, so they're pushing that out, trying to point the finger at us, trying to make everything appear a certain way, rather than actually like taking a step back, saying, okay, you know what, X, Y, and Z is happening, this is happening, these are the causes, and we need to fix something. But rather than actually taking the time to fix something, they just continue to destroy us. All right, and that's just been their goal. Hosea chapter 4 verse 9. Hosea chapter 4 verse 6, Lakia, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy power. I will also forget thy children. That's another thing where our people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. They don't know all the stuff that's going on, so as a result of that, they are just following along with whatever, doing whatever, and very clearly, because I don't know if you remember hearing her saying, she said that the projects, they didn't get all the let out. They lied and they said, oh yeah, we're gonna get the let out, we're gonna fix everything, but instead they just left it as is, because they still want to destroy us. They still want us destroyed. They still want us to follow after whatever BS snare / trap that they have for us, and we're suffering as a result of it. Okay, so yeah, our people, they're not aware of all the stuff that's going on. So as a result of that, we are following along and believing, oh yeah, this is what's going on. You know, everything is good, or it's our fault, or it's this and the third. But no, it's the traps that they laid in place for us. Okay, and we also get this. Where's the? Oh yeah. Psalm 64 verse 5, they encourage themselves in an evil manner. They commune laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? Okay, that's the thing where they say, okay, well, we have all this stuff set up. You know, who's gonna know? Who's gonna find out? All right, we're gonna get away with it. We can keep on doing this thing and keep on destroying the so-called black community. But apparently one of their own found out themselves. One of their own is exposing them to it, and that's the thing that always gets to me, that always humors me, Slakia, where it's like it's always this, not always, I won't say always, but sometimes it is funnier to see that these Edomite looking people are the ones that are actually going out their way to expose and show all this stuff. And apparently, as she said, that this is all public knowledge. Okay, you can literally go in and find this stuff out, when they had a global ban on lead paint, and instead of actually taking that seriously, they said, no, we won't ban that, we're just going to keep it to the so-called black communities and the projects and stuff like that, or predominantly black things, where also that's another thing where it can be inherited. So even if a so-called black kid or whatever moves out and goes and has kids elsewhere in a non-lead poison place, they can still give it to the child, and that's where these issues are still in place. All right. So next, Sirach chapter 10 verse 2. as the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers, and what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. An unwise king destroyeth his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited. Now, the first thing is, over here, the people, they copy this. They copy the leaders. They think, okay, well, even though we know about this stuff, or maybe some of them don't know, we're still going to just act as if they're the problems, they're the root, they're whatever, like they are at fault, rather than actually taking accountability and understanding the situation for what it actually is. And then in terms of that, they just blame us, they just hate us, and we see that hatred. All right, so with that, the people, they're copying their leaders. The next verse 3, it says, an unwise king destroyed his people, and the people, us being under subjection to these devils, we are being destroyed by these unrighteous rulers. Okay, let me also get this in Proverbs chapter 29 verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. And it's not just us, it's everyone. Actually, everyone is grieving from the oppression of Esau, Edom, destroying not just us but everyone, because Esau is making everyone suffer, even his own people are suffering. All right, next, Sirach 14 verse 7, and if he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly, and at the last he will declare his wickedness. So all that section 8 housing, the government housing, and all that stuff, oh yeah, we're doing something good, we're doing these projects, but did you hear about the lead poison? Did you hear about all the other stuff that came with it? The stuff, the actual poison, the actual plans of destroying the people instead. All right, so these are things to kind of take note of and to remember. I pray this lesson was edifying. I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI, double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone, above all, and shalom.